Rebecca from ChemKnits, and I'm here today on this Sunday evening to do a little design spotlight of my custom Christmas stockings. I realized after I did the last design spotlight that I wanted to feature these stockings, but I also wanted to clean up my holiday decorations and put them away. So I wanted to make sure that I showcased these stockings before I finished packing everything up and moving it upstairs into the attic. And then after that, there'll probably be a little more time between this design spotlight and the next one. But since they were already hanging nicely and beautifully on my mantle, which I have a little fire going tonight, I thought that it was worth showcasing these stockings. So thank you so much, everyone who was able to join me tonight. These stockings, which I mostly have named based on the initials of the person that the stocking belongs to, because I designed these specifically for members of my family. But all of these patterns are available for free on the ChemKnits.com website. And there's even a semi-recent post, maybe one of the last posts of 2017, that kind of does a summary of all the stockings and where you can find the patterns for each of them. And those are actually, the link to that is in the video description of this video. But I really, really like these stockings. And the first ones I actually created when Keith and I first got engaged. We bought our first Christmas tree, and it was going to be well, not my first Christmas, because I'd spent Christmas with his family, but it was going to be my first Christmas in my home. So it was my first tree, and I wanted to make some stockings to make it feel special. Actually, my mother-in-law, when I was going to spend my first Christmas with them, she asked Keith if I would be comfortable if she got a stocking with my name on it, which I thought was incredibly sweet and made me feel really, really welcome. I mean, I'd been to their home a lot of times, but it made me feel especially welcome for the holidays. Oh, hi! Welcome, everyone! So I decided, I think that I had messed around, and I like playing with making knitting charts and Colorwork charts, and I mostly use Microsoft Excel. So I think I had some of the designs already created before I was doing the stocking. Like this. And there goes the hook. So the stocking, this is my stocking right here. And it is called the RFR RFB stocking because I had my maiden initials on one side and then my married initials on the other. Because I thought it would be presumptuous to use my not yet new initials on the stocking, and I didn't want to permanently have my old name on the stocking. So I thought that it would be fun to sort of flip it. And so that's what we did. The first year we had it hung up like this, and now every year after that I hang it in this direction. So it's funny, because the one thing I'm not in love with is the way, when I swatched the snowflake, I had charted it and everything to make it square, but then it ended up, just because of the tension, I think, of my color work, ended up being a little elongated. But this design here at the bottom was actually one that was inspired by a heme molecule. And so it's a very cartoonish representation. But that's where, and there's some iterations of this graphic on a separate post. And I think that each of the stocking patterns also links to the inspiration, whether it was artwork or another chart that I had designed on the blog. But the construction of these stockings is really, really easy. All of them, even the indie stocking that's knit with fingering weight yarn, consists of basically knitting a long tube with 70 stitches. So you knit it from the top down, and then it has an afterthought heel. So you knit half of the stitches onto waste yarn. I'm pointing on the wrong side where you can't see, at this point. And so you finish the tube with the foot, and then you go back, remove the stitches, and add in, it might be a little hard to see with the navy, but you add in just this decreased heel right here. And so it just makes the construction really, really easy. And technically, I think my foot does fit in one of these okay. but they're more decorative than meant to be worn. So it was nice to not have to worry about gussets and everything like that. And I honestly forget which one I made first, if I did Keith's first or mine. I'd have to go back through Ravelry and check. But when I was designing these and thinking about what I wanted to include, I asked Keith, okay, if you could have anything on your stocking, what would you want? And he said that he wanted a dinosaur playing guitar. So I set out to design a dinosaur playing guitar for Keith for his stocking. And I ended up, I tried looking at things that I could pixelate, and I ended up finding a piece of artwork that featured a dinosaur playing guitar. And I forget if his head, so there's two versions of the dinosaur. There's one who's facing that way, and then another that's more facing the guitar. But Keith was in a band named Free Parking for a while, and so he was very exuberant with his guitar playing, and so I wanted to have some differences on his stocking. But I also thought it was fun, and I think that I just added the little hat on with duplicate stitch. But the artist, so I found a picture of a dinosaur playing guitar, and then I took it into Photoshop and really pixelated it to help convert it from the original picture into something two-dimensional that I could do with stitches. And the black on here I did add on, and the guitar, yeah, I think I did the whole guitar in duplicate stitch as well, because that was otherwise going to be hard to do in the round. And then the star is a pretty classic one. I had played around with a few designs. But then at the bottom we have some Space Invaders, and they somewhat vary around the bottom. So it's kind of fun that even though these days we only really have one side that shows, that there is actually a slight difference from one side to the other. Yeah, it would be pretty hard for a dino to play guitar with their little arms. Is his name Indy for Indy died? No, his name is Indy because we named the dog Indiana. His full name is actually Indiana Lanza Little Brown, is what he is officially registered under. Because we would have named him Lancelot because Keith's family had a tradition of naming dogs against kind of like legendary characters. But he was so teeny that Lancelot didn't really fit him, so he's Lanza Little. Yeah, but so these were the Keith stocking and mine were obviously the first ones that I did, and I even posted a bunch of reject charts because I played around a lot with the different fillers that I wanted to use to make them like the same size. And actually all of these stockings are approximately the same number of rows, but not quite exactly. And so there's a lot of like mix and match of different charts that if you wanted to make one and you liked parts of, say, Ryder's stocking and mine, you totally could easily switch around and combine them because they all have 70 stitches around. So it makes it very customizable, which I think was pretty fun. I actually have a couple that I had been working on that I've never shared because I wasn't sure if they were going to get knit or not. But I have a lot of additional ideas for these stockings in my queue. And, at some point I figure especially the kids might want something a little different. And so I have a feeling that we might go through multiple iterations of stockings in our lifetime. Yeah. Okay, so then the next stocking that I made was Indy's. And I made his in a year when I was trying to be good and do a lot of stash busting. So I picked some colors that I had in my stash. And for his stocking, you can see that I did 3 colors at a time. Up here, so his name is in a dog bone. And then here is just a pattern of 2 eyes, like the letter I in 2 different colors that I did. And I made him a little felted ball with that design. So that's even though it looks more like a geometric design further back, it's actually something inspired by his name. And then I looked hard to find sort of a dog silhouette that kind of looked like an American Eskimo. And I modified, I think the original silhouette I found had a tail going up. And so I kind of modified, or tail going out, but I modified. I mean, technically his tail should be, usually curls up on his back. But this was a close approximation. And I modified it to, I guess, fit the way I wanted. But the thing that I did with this stocking, which you might not want to do, is I did stranded color work with 3 colors at a time. So every time I hit, if you look on the inside, you can see like all these floats. I relished and got so excited whenever I could have a round where I'm like, ooh, it's only 1 color or only 2 colors. So I'm not as much of a fan of using 3 colors at a time. But I thought I had a lot of fun coming up with the different like dog-shaped things. And he doesn't really care about fire hydrants, but I felt like that was something very dog-esque for going on the stocking. And so, because, you know, he's my first baby, so he needed his own pattern. But this one is completely symmetrical, but also constructed. This also has the same number of stitches around. So even though it's done with a different yarn weight, it absolutely could be done with the sport weight, or any of these could be done in fingering weight. And I actually kind of like, if I was going to start over, I would have chosen, because I guess I'm a different person now than I was back then, I would choose like a different gauge to knit them in. But with the boys, when I was doing their stockings, I wanted to be consistent with the originals because I wasn't planning on doing a redesign of all of them. But I kind of like the Indies stands out a little bit. We don't usually put things in these stockings. We rarely are in our own house for Christmas. We're usually with my in-laws, and so my sister-in-law brings stuff and puts it in all the some chocolates and all the stockings. And so yes, we haven't really ever had the opportunity to put things in these, but it's a lot of fun. And so then when the boys were born, they each obviously needed their own stocking. And Lucas's, there was a little more pressure for me around Lucas's than there was around Ryder's. Because Ryder was born in January. So that meant I had all the way until December to figure his out. But Lucas was born in October. And I think I might have finished it before he was born. But I certainly didn't publish it before he was born because I didn't want to give any clues about his name. But his initials are actually a very important part of his name and the reason why we went with Lucas, because we were excited to have the initials be Lab. But even though Lucas ended up with the Under the Sea nursery, and you can actually see pictures of all the DIY projects I did for that on my website as well. I did do another dinosaur, and I think his is completely symmetrical. Another dinosaur in his as well. These turtles that are down here actually were part of a project I designed for my mom. I made her an iPad case for one of her first iPads. And since she has a big affinity for turtles with connections to both Florida and Mackinac Island, I thought it would be fun to include the turtles here as well. Yeah. And then because, you know, I needed to, can anyone guess what these might be? We've got some TIE fighters at the bottom of the stocking, just for some whimsy. And, you know, Lucas's godmother is a very, very big Star Wars fan, as is his father. And so I thought that would be just like a fun little touch. And then for Ryder's, I struggled a little more with what I wanted to put on his stocking. Especially, yeah, I was just really struggling. I had some other ideas, but those were more things that were better suited for grown-ups than kids. And so I really wanted something that could be his. So I ended up going with these penguins because I used penguins like this for the birth announcement, or not the birth announcement, the pregnancy announcement that I did. So for the pregnancy announcement I did, I made like a little square that said winter 2016. I don't remember if I wrote coming soon on it. Maybe it just said winter 2016. And then I did 2 penguin parents, a little penguin kid, and then I did an egg. And so to kind of like announce that we were hatching something. And so I thought it would be fitting to include the entire little family on this stocking. Yeah, the fire hydrants. Oh, I guess it does kind of look like a witch. Now these penguins are also featured in the Snowy Penguin set, which I did a vest, a pair of thumbless mittens for a toddler, and a hat. And so they are designs that I love and I was happy to use again. And then the star is something a little more classic, that's down at the foot, but it's something that I've been playing around with a lot. And so I just wanted to finally knit it. And I did, oh gosh, I made a mistake. While I was knitting it, I like messed up something in one of the rows. And so then I had to go back and drop stitches down to fix the color work. And oh, that was a pain. But I think that there's something on Instagram about that. But, you know, it was fun to do something else that was custom. And I thought about, so I think that I have, I think that on all the patterns, I have links to the charts in a spreadsheet. So that way you could go through and edit it yourself. However, if you want to edit the spreadsheet, you'll need to save a copy of it to your own Google Drive or download it, because you cannot edit the copy that I have shared, for the good reason that if you edit the copy that's shared, then you could affect the entire design, and then someone else wouldn't be able to get it and copy it. So that's why you can't edit that copy itself. You kind of need to create a copy of the document, and then you should be able to edit it without any problem. Initially for the letters, there was this Celtic cross stitch generator that would generate these gorgeous letters that I used in all the human stockings. But unfortunately, that has been offline for a while. So with the L, with Lucas's L, and then writer's E, I kind of had to make something up that felt like it went with the A and the B and the R that we had used already. Oh, yeah, I haven't really seen much Doctor Who. They're just little fire hydrants. I've seen like a special on like the whole like Doctor Who series to try to understand a little bit what it's about, but we haven't actually watched any episodes yet, although we've heard that we would probably like it a lot. A dinosaur musician, yeah. Yeah. But the thing I like the most about these is that they are so modular. And even though, you know, maybe I'll have to go through and come up with an entire alphabet of these letters myself. So that way, if someone wants something in this style, maybe I'll work on that. So that then they have something to draw from. Because, I mean, otherwise you could just pick any kind of knit alphabet and put into that space. But since these are so modular and there's not a lot of calculation that needs to happen for the afterthought heel, you can, you know, mix and match these patterns together and use, you know, and as long as you have roughly the number of rows above the heel and below the heel, then you'll get something that looks proportionally like a stocking, which I think is something that is pretty nice about this. And yeah, I mean, it was these were just a lot of fun to play around with and are something that are very, very near and dear to my heart. Yeah. Excuse me. Dogs may not be that into Doctor Who. I did get a request to do a cat version of a stocking at some point, which isn't something that I've finished yet. Or, I mean, it's not something I've really worked on. But, you know, I do, if I were going to update my stocking, I'm not quite sure what I would put on. But I do expect that the boys will each at some point maybe request something specific, or I'll be able to, when they're a little older, do something that's more on, draws more on them as a person versus, you know, who they were as like a newborn. But I have a feeling, actually, the dinosaur for Lucas does pretty well. He really likes dinosaurs and plays with them a lot. I mean, Ryder does like penguins, but I have a feeling that his would, right now, would have trains and trucks all over it. Because that's, you know, he just turned 2, and we're all about choo-choo trains right now. This one's my husband's stocking right here. So Keith requested the dinosaur playing guitar. And so I was determined to create a stocking with a dinosaur playing guitar. And I don't know if I initially was going to set out to design stockings myself, but when he requested the dinosaur playing guitar, I knew I was going to need to design the stocking because I wasn't going to be able to find one with that already on it. But yeah, and I think I did Keith's before I did mine because I was more sure what I wanted to do, and like I thought including the Space Invaders on the bottom was just so fun. But yeah, all of these patterns are available for free on ChemKnits.com. I would say of all of my designs, the majority of them are available for free. And yeah, I like that, and I'm always happy to answer questions and stuff with the designs. And I think I still need to do a video on how I do my knitting charts. I have a picture tutorial on the website, but I haven't done a video on that yet. But yeah, these these are, I think my favorite part of getting ready for the holidays is taking out these stockings and hanging them up. Even though we've only been 4 stockings now for, oh gosh, you know, Ryder's 2 years old. So we've had 2 Christmases so far where we've had all 4 stockings, but it's just the best part of the year is hanging them up. And they've hung on, because we haven't really had a mantle until this house, so they've hung on bookshelves, and then they hung on a closet door in one apartment, and gosh, I guess we did have a mantle in the next house, and then, or the next apartment, and then in this house we obviously had the mantle and had to figure out how to hang them up. Which one are you most happy with? I think my favorite is probably Keith's. I was very, very, very happy to have had the request of the dinosaur playing guitar and to be able to deliver on something so epic. So here's the side that we usually show off, and then the other side of the dinosaur playing. So I was really, really happy with that one. And Indies, I'm also really, really thrilled with the way Indies came out. I thought that it was just perfect, kind of perfectly dog themed, and something that, there are little bits in it that are tailored specifically for Indy, but it's something that could work for a lot of other people with pets as well. And so that's one that felt really, really exciting to do. And Indy was very good while his stocking was blocking and did not run on top of it. I think I actually put a laundry basket over it when it was drying on the blocking mat, and then he would lay down next to it. I probably have a picture of that somewhere. And least happy with? Maybe mine. I think that with who I am now as a designer, I wish that I had kind of pushed a little further with my own stocking. I mean, I really like that it has who I was with my old name and who I am now. But I think that maybe, I'm not sure what I would do differently. Maybe I would have penguins on my own. But, or I was also a little jealous that I didn't get to have a dinosaur. And that was one reason why I didn't put a dinosaur on Riders, because I didn't want to be the only one without a dinosaur. Like, that wouldn't be fair. And I love dinosaurs. I have a dress with dinosaurs on it that makes me very, very happy. But, oh, I hope that the quality coming through is okay. I see that the stream quality may not be so good. But I hope that everyone's able to hear me and everything all right. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this design spotlight where I got to show off some of my favorite designs to show off. Oh, I guess I didn't talk a ton about the yarns, but so the original ones, my stocking and cutes were knit in a yarn line that's now been discontinued. It was Knit Picks Telemark. And I forget if it was DK or Sport Weight. But the Wool of the Andes Sport Weight, which I used for Riders and for Lucas's stockings, was a reasonable replacement. They didn't have the greens are the same. They didn't have the exact blue that I had used in my stockings. So the new blue is a bit brighter, but I think that it's okay. And I think that the original ones have yellowed a bit over the years because they seem yellower. Oh, a penguin in a lab coat with a beaker. Yeah, that'd be, I mean, I think if I was starting over, I might do fingering weight with a lot more stitches so that way I could do something more intricate in the design. But we'll see. I'm torn between both like keeping these as is because like this way these will be the stockings that we have like forever, or doing a redesign. But maybe if I'm going to redesign for the kids, then I'll do a redesign for all of us. I don't know if that's something that'll happen. But if I do, I'll share the patterns. So there's that incentive, I suppose. But yeah, I'm so glad that you guys were able to come and join me, even with football and everything on. I wanted to try sometimes to do live streams in the evening because I know that daytime is harder for people to join in. But yeah, these are the ChemKnits Christmas stockings. And so I hope that you enjoyed hearing a little more about them and sort of like what was going through my head as I was working on them. And yeah. And if you haven't joined the ChemKnits Lab Facebook group, come and join us. There's a lot more talk about yarn dyeing than knitting or crocheting, but knitting and crochet projects and questions and stuff are absolutely welcome in the lab group as well. But it's a lot of fun, and I love seeing the dyeing projects and everything that you guys are doing. And some of the things that have been shared have inspired me to do new projects, and so that is a lot of fun. And although these don't feature hand-dyed yarns, they definitely could. I love using variegated yarns and Colorwork because I think that you can really make these multicolored yarns pop when you mix them with a strong solid. Yeah. Yes, I'm glad to provide some happy videos. But anyway, I hope that you all have a wonderful evening and, wish me luck as I start cleaning up all of these decorations. I procrastinated on this for a bit, and so now I need to just get on it and take care of it. But thank you. Yeah, I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening, and if you are taking a break from the football game, I hope that you get the outcome that you're hoping for. But I know that not everyone can get that. But anyway, I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, and I will be live again on Wednesday at noon, where I plan to do some dyeing projects with some Easter egg dye tablets. So I hope that you can join me then. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye. Thank you.